Welcome everyone to our new series, Best Fleet for Every Price Bracket. We're gonna do this one every January, and we're gonna try to do it before the In Case You Missed It sale every January, so that way you guys can see what we think is the best fleet from $100 all the way to $1,000. We'll give you a few reasons why each is the best. Remember, digital ships aren't imaginary, digital ships are imagine necessary. This month's giveaway prize is going to be an RSI Perseus. Well, we're still giving that away from December. To enter the contest, if you're a subscriber before December 1st, 2024, make sure you're subscribed to Billionaire Ninjas. Leave a comment on at least one video and like or dislike at least one video. If you're subscribed during December, share a video on at least 2 social media accounts and leave a comment on every video from this month. Winners have 2 weeks to claim their prize. Members collectively have a greater chance of winning just for being members. So if you're subscribed, consider hitting that join button. And if you're not subscribed, I appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. For the full giveaway details, make sure you visit our Billionaire Ninjas Discord or our social media at Ninjas Leap. We will do the giveaway for this one, like I said, at the end of the In Case You Missed It sale later this month. So make sure you are participating, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you're liking the videos, and you will be entered to win that. All right, so what makes a good fleet? Well, check out our How to Build a Fleet video, and I'll pop that up on the screen. If I remember, it'll be somewhere over here or over there. Yeah, but check that video out. In that video, we kind of go over, you know, what should be a good fleet and what you should be looking for, because that definition changes for everybody. This video will assume you already know that part and understand the basics of how to build a fleet. That is why we're doing this after we did that video. We also assume people who spend more than $1,000 already know what they're doing, which is why we limit it to $1,000. Well, at least we hope you know what you're doing if you're spending that much money on a video game, or you're not rich. If you're rich, I mean, whatever. We understand that our best may not be your best, so make sure you leave a list of what you think is the best ship for each price bracket down below. We'll state a few reasons why each is the best, which could be for a lot of different reasons. We will go up in increments of $100 all the way to $1,000, and we'll assume no CCUs or upgrades are used. I will say that again. We will assume no CCUs or upgrades are used. So this is the actual purchase price of these ships. So if you don't understand what a CCU or upgrade is, go and check out our advanced CCU guide. Our CCU guide, we have 2 of them. We have a basic one and an advanced one. Go check those out and you'll understand. So if you're applying CCUs to anything that's in here, then of course you can save even more money and fit even more ships in it. But we're not doing that because we are assuming that you're stuck buying these at the full purchase price. Even though you're not, you can play the CCU game, but just to hold ourselves to a price amount, because the CCU game is fickle and you never know how much you're going to save. We're doing this at the actual price. And maybe we'll do in the future, we'll do an unlimited pack or something like, well, it's got to be limited because otherwise you just buy every ship. So let's say we'll probably do like a $2,000 version, and we'll do probably like a $2,500, a $5,000, and a $10,000. We'll do that. We'll probably go up to $10,000. Well, I mean, I suppose we could do. I guess I would only go up to the amount of money that I've spent. I wouldn't tell people who have spent more money than me how to spend that money. So yeah, I'll say we go up to 15,000. We'll probably go up to 15,000. We'll do a part 2, and we'll skip around to we'll just do the concierge. We'll call that one the concierge version, and it'll go every level of concierge above the first one, and then we'll do that. And what you should spend to get you there. How about that? But this isn't that. I just wanted to, very, very much so clarify we're not using CCUs in this one, just to hold ourselves to the prices. But yeah, if you're one of those people who use CCUs and upgrades, consider this more of a must-have list at each price bracket, or a list of ships we would offer in a pack. We've even named them as a pack just to make sure that you kind of get that point. Last note before we get started, if you do want to do a specific profession as your primary role in the game, then of course you can swap out the primary ship in each one of these brackets for your preferred profession. For our list, we place fun at the topmost requirement, seconded by utility, then value, and finally is money making and intangibles. Now, some ships might have so many intangibles that they outdo the utility or they outdo the value comparison, and some are such a great save on money that we don't really care about the intangibles as much or the fun. So just because I'm ranking them that way doesn't necessarily mean that it has more of number one than it does of number two. All of this is subjective. We also assume people are keeping these ships, so we look forward to seeing your list in the comments. Let's get started. We've done enough prep. We've done enough prep. There we go. Let's go. All right. So last time we talked about packs, we kind of didn't have the same thing that we have now. So now when we talk about packs, we're just including this ship that I say, and it doesn't necessarily mean that there's not other ships that you can purchase that would fit. It's just this is what we think is the best based on the price. So we start with the $100 price bracket. The starter pack is the one we're calling this because it's, you know, the starter pack, right? And fortunately for you, it already exists. It's the Avenger Titan. That's the primary ship. There's no secondary ship. There's no role players. Yes, you have $100 to spend, and you should only spend 60 of it and get a starter pack and save the rest of the $40 because if you get an Avenger Titan, you're going to be able to do so many things. The Hull A and Nomad are honorable mentions here, but when you're at the $100 price range, you're better off saving your money than buying more expensive ships. Remember, all you need is a starter pack in this game. Everything else can be earned in game, and every starter pack should be very much so holding themselves to that, right? If you are getting a starter pack and you're like, this is as much as I want to spend on the game, that is perfectly reasonable and you should stick to that. And that is the leading philosophy that I try to tell people when purchasing ships, but especially when you only have a budget of $100. The Avenger Titan is fun, it has great utility, it saves you $20 compared to the more expensive Nomad and $30 compared to the Hull A. It also offers a better value than the Drake Cutter because of its fighting ability. If you must spend more money, then my suggestion is wait until you're in the $200 price bracket or get yourself a Mirai Pulse with what you have left. And that is probably, again, all the money that you should spend. Next is our $200 price bracket, the Bunker Runner Pack for $190 total. So this one, our primary ship is the Crusader C1 Spirit, and our second ship is the Anvil Pisces C8R. Why do we pick those? Well, we'll get to that. The honorable mention here could have simply been buying a Constellation Taurus, but I was gonna do this honorable mention thing, but the reason I'm even mentioning these is because I know there's gonna be some people, well, no, this one's the better moneymaker, and this one's the Connie Taurus is definitely a ship that you could purchase for $200 and it will be able to do a lot, but I do think your versatility is a little better with what I put in front of you, and you're saving $10. So again, reminder, this is without using CCUs. So the Taurus is an excellent multi-role ship and the only ship that you would need at this price point, and you can make a lot of money with it. But the Taurus needs a lot of updates because, you know, it's kind of an old ship. It is a solid fighting ship. It's tough. It opens up multi-crew gameplay. It can carry a vehicle. It can make you a lot of money with cargo hauling. However, this is more about creating a fleet. So I opted for a two-ship combination where you now have a ship you can live on that can do cargo, right? So your C1 Spirit, right? Can't do a ton of cargo, but it can do enough to where you can make some decent money in the game. It's solid in a fight. You know, it's tough enough for what it can do and the price that you pay for it. And again, opens up multi-crew gameplay. Then you have another ship that opens up the ability to respawn, which is your C8R. You get a C8R, now you can all of a sudden do bunker runs and stuff like that. And you know, you can do medical missions when those come online, but you know how close you can get without getting shot out of the sky when you're in a C8R versus larger ships. So, you know, it helps when you're trying to do a bunker mission. Also, I have to mention that most profession starter ships are available at this level, you know, and under $200. So if you're interested in mining or salvage with the Prospector or Vulture respectively, I think you can get those, but I would argue that those are better purchased in game because they limit the utility of your fleet drastically at this price point. I think if you only have $200 to spend in game, I think you should probably stay away from the profession starters unless you're 100% sure that that's all you want to do in the game, because most of the time you're better off getting that more general ship at the $200 price point. When you get to the $300 price point, that's when I think you can start to introduce the professional starters. So let's jump to that one. $300 price bracket, the double duty pack. This one costs exactly $300. And in this one, the primary ship is the Drake Vulture and the secondary ship is the Crusader C1 Spirit. So we kept the C1, it just moved to our secondary ship and the Drake Vulture became our primary ship. As I stated, this is the first pack where we insert a professional ship, and we mainly do it because it's a massive moneymaker that will allow you to purchase other ships down the road without limiting the versatility of your fleet. There are tons of options at this price point and every price point going forward, but we think this maximizes the value because other combinations you're generally spending too much on a single ship that isn't versatile enough, or it limits your money-making potential. So Drake Vulture, Crusader C1 Spirit, the double duty pack for $300. Now, moving on to $400. The $400 price bracket, this one I called the Fighter's Chance pack. It's $385 total. It is where we get our Constellation Taurus as the primary ship, and our secondary ship becomes the F7C Hornet Ghost Mark II. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Whoa, wait a minute. All of a sudden you're putting a fighter in there? You didn't have any fighters in the other one? Well, technically I did. I had the Avenger Titan. But that's okay. Let me explain. We open up some different possibilities because now we're going for more combat heavy fleet, but also adding one of the best value ships in the game. I told you that Constellation Taurus, it's a really good ship. It's just, if you only have $200 to spend, I wouldn't only spend $200 on it. But if you got $400 to spend, now we're talking. $400, you get a Constellation Taurus, you get F7C Hornet Ghost Mark II, and you can go to town because now, you know, we've already sung the praises of the Taurus and its utility, but the Ghost Mark II might come as a surprise because the Ghost opens up the ability to do HRT missions once you add a few weapons onto it, and those missions are also great money makers and a lot more fun in my book than salvage gameplay. You know, although we do love a good salvage run, the Ghost is a solid fighter with stealth, so it can double as a scout ship as well as stay hard to hit in a fight. You can also have, you also have the ability to take nearly 200 SCU of cargo with you in that Taurus, which you can also earn a decent money hauling. So you can earn pretty much the same amount cargo hauling with that 200 SCU as you can in those HRT missions with your Ghost. So when you get tired of blowing things up, you can go hauling. When you get tired of hauling, you can go blow things up. I think it's a good mixture for a fleet, mixing up your gameplay. But you also have enough firepower in the Taurus to defend yourself, and you can bring an Ursa Medevac along, or even a small snub ship if you want to step outside of that cargo gameplay. Of course, if you prefer the profession starters, you can always add the Prospector or the Vulture in replace of the Ghost Mark II if you're less combat oriented. So that's one of the things I like about I called it the Fighter's Chance because I do think these are the ships that if I was going to own the ship, I would rather own these, and then the amount of money that I make off of these, especially but how often these two are going to get blown up in comparison to my Vulture and my other and my Prospector, I think I'd rather own these because they're just going to get blown up a lot more. So that's my $400 fleet. Let's move to $500. All right, at the $500 price bracket, we call this one the Well-Rounded Pack, and it costs $485 total. Again, reminder, we are not including CCUs in this because if we were to include CCUs in this, then it would be a much different pack, so to speak, because we wouldn't really be able to tell you how much to spend because it would be very heavily dependent on what CCUs you could get a hold of. So our primary ship in this one, the Well-Rounded Pack, the primary ship is the Drake Corsair, the secondary ship is the Drake Vulture, and the role player that we have now added is the Avenger Titan. We now have 3 ships. I don't think in any of our other ones we had 3 ships. I think this is the first one, yes. $500 is the first one where we now have 3 total ships. If you're building a fleet and you're wondering, like, why weren't there multiple ships in the 400? Why weren't there 3 ships in the 400? Why weren't there 3 ships in the 300? I just don't think that you should be focusing on adding a 3rd ship if you're still at those price ranges. I think there are bigger ships that you should be trying to get, especially if you're trying to get a fleet started, right? Now, remember, this is with the goal of getting a fleet. This isn't just trying to get the best ship in the game. This is, I'm trying to build a fleet. So this selection gives you, at least 5 ways to play the game: dogfighting, salvage, exploration, HRTs, and cargo. The Drake Corsair is one of the most versatile ships in the game, even more so than the Taurus in some ways because of its exploration capabilities. It can carry enough cargo to matter. It has a ton of guns, which makes it a hard target to kill even without an escort, and it can fit a number of vehicles and snub ships in its cargo bay. The Vulture returns as a primary moneymaker for the fleet, and the Avenger Titan returns in a different capacity to act as your dogfighting ship when the Drake Corsair would be too big for your needs. So I think the Corsair, you use it, when you got to move a little bit of cargo. Obviously not moving as much cargo as the Connie Taurus, but now you have the added availability to do exploration gameplay. And of course, you still can bring a vehicle with you, which you could bring in the Taurus as well. But you also have, it requires more multi-crew because of the way they changed the Corsair recently. But the Corsair is still a solid ship. But again, that is the $500 price range. Just look how much it changes once we get to $600. Our $600 price bracket, we call this one the Ultimate Well-Rounded Pack. The $500 was the Well-Rounded. This is the Ultimate Well-Rounded Pack. This is at $600 exactly. This one, our primary ship is the Starlancer Tack. The secondary ship is the Drake Vulture. The role players are the Avenger Titan and the P-72 Archimedes. This comes out at exactly $600. I was very surprised that we managed to hit $600 on the nail. No CCUs. It was actually, it took some thinking, but we managed to get it done. But this selection requires much less discussion because we are only really changing one ship and adding one ship. So the Tack is yet another step up in versatility. So we talked about the Taurus, right? The Taurus is, it can fight and it can haul a bunch of stuff, whether that be vehicles or cargo. Then we talked about the Corsair, which can fight, it can haul less stuff than the Taurus, but it gives you that exploration capability. Well, the Starlancer Tack, you don't have as much of that exploration capability, but you have a much better fighting ship, and it can haul more than the Corsair. So now we're talking, a much better ship kind of to live in with the Starlancer Tack, and it has the ability of people to, it spreads out that multi-role stuff because now you have 2 medical beds. The Drake Vulture, of course, we keep because it's our moneymaker, and we add the P-72 Archimedes. So the Tack is, again, like I said, another step up in versatility. It loses the ability to do exploration, but adds that ability to do medical. And now you have a gunship that you can do military activities in. And then you have that dedicated hangar that you could put that P-72 Archimedes in. Now, I know some people prefer other things in that hangar. That's okay. But there's a reason I chose the P-72 Archimedes and its price. So just so you know, and opening up your cargo bay to actually be used for cargo while still being able to fit a small vehicle. So that's one of the reasons I really love the Tack, even though it's not out yet, is because, and again, this is the first time we add a ship that's not in game to our list. And one of the things I think is really great about the Tack, like I said, is it has that bay that you can put your ship in, and now you can put a vehicle in the back, or you can put something else in the back. And having that dedicated hanger, I think, is something that ships normally at the around that $300 price range. You just don't get ships that can do that much. So for me, I think the Starlancer Tack, once it comes out, is probably going to go up in price. So this is one of the first times where you're buying a ship that might end up being a small investment, but also a great ship on top of all of that. And the P-72 Archimedes, I don't want to skip over talking about that. It's very speedy, punchy snub fighter, along with having a third utility, which is racing. The Fury is better, but it, again, doesn't fit that price range. So moving on, since we're trying to get to a price range, the $700 price bracket, this one I call the Bases Loaded Pack, and it is $670 total. So this one, you get the Starlancer Tack. We're going to keep that. We're going to keep our secondary ship, which is the Drake Vulture, and what we're going to change are our role players. Instead of the Avenger Titan and P-72 Archimedes, we go with the Cutlass Black and the Fury. So now we have the Starlancer Tack, Drake Vulture, Cutlass Black, and the Fury for the Bases Loaded Pack at $670. This one is a bit easier because the main change is getting a better snub ship for the Tack, because we're going to get that Fury, and upgrading the Titan to the Cutlass Black. Now, the Cutlass Black can carry a little bit of cargo, so when you don't want to take your large Starlancer Tack out, you can then take your Cutlass Black out and still carry a decent amount of cargo, still have access to multi-crew, and then when you're just going out to make money, you do your Drake Vulture, and then of course your Fury is inside of your Starlancer Tack. So I think that's I think you're very well rounded at that previous one where you have the Vulture, the Tack, the Titan, and the P-72. That's a pretty well rounded fleet. This one is like you're overdoing it a little bit, which is why I say bases loaded, right? You could have done less, but you're still very well rounded. But yeah, you get that better snub for the Tack with the Fury, and upgrading to the Cutlass Black, which still allows you to keep, you can stay in the fight. You can still fight with the Cutlass Black. Not as well as the Titan, unless you have that multi-crew thing figured out. But now it has the ability to bring more people and more cargo without that massive drop in firepower. And you got a daily driver now. All right, going up to $800. All right, this is where it starts to get, we start to go crazy a little bit here. I hope you're ready. $800 price bracket. We call this the Wait For It pack. It's $795. Our primary ship is the Misk Endeavor. The secondary ship is the Starlancer Tack. The role players are the Avenger Titan and the Fury. So we drop our Cutlass Black back down to an Avenger Titan so that we trade out our Vulture for a Misk Endeavor. We have the Misk Endeavor, which is our do everything money related ship. If you want to farm, you can make money that way. If you want a hospital, you can make money that way. We do think that you should purchase the parts for the Misk Endeavor in game. So when we say the Misk Endeavor, we are talking about the base of the Misk Endeavor and its current purchase price, which is $350. So you can use the Starlancer Tack to get your startup money. Put that Fury in that Starlancer Tack, go do some HRT missions until you make enough money to buy those add-ons for your Misk Endeavor, and then you can do whatever you want in that thing. It's got so many ways to make money that it's crazy. But you will need a larger crew for that. So just be aware that the Misk Endeavor is going to require at least 8 people. So just make sure you got 8 people if you're getting into that. But again, this is we present these as though they're packs. We also present these as though like what your fleet should consist of. There's still a lot of unanswered questions about the Misk Endeavor, and we understand that. But we do think that for your money, either the Misk Endeavor is going to grow in price, and then you can upgrade it to something even better than if you think there's something better. So the investment is there. The value is there because we think that ship is still underpriced even at $350. So I just think Yeah, I think that there's a good reason to get that. You know, the Titan is our dogfighter, daily driver, but the TAC allows you to have a lot of stuff open here because it's got that, because you have the Fury in it. Now it's got combat, it can do cargo, it can do medical related stuff. So I think it's a pretty solid fleet. And at $800, and the reason I call it the wait for it pack, it should be obvious. The Misk Endeavor, you're going to be waiting for a while for that one. So strap in. I think you get, what do you get? I think you get like a Caterpillar. I think you get a Caterpillar and a Starfarer for it. I think you get a Starfarer and a Caterpillar. I was incorrect. You actually get a Starfarer and a Cutlass Red. So be aware that, like I said, this is the wait for it pack. So if you're not willing to wait for it, then you shouldn't really be spending, I would say you shouldn't be spending the 800. You should either jump up to 1,000 or you should stay at the $700 price range until you're ready to take that dive. So again, just because I put this in a pack doesn't mean it's the right pack for you right now. It could be that you should stay in one of these other price brackets until one of these other price brackets opens up to you, and it's probably better to save your money until you can either get to a higher price bracket with different ships or something like that. All right. So then with the $900 price bracket, I call this the I Refuse to Go Concierge Pack. It's $900 exactly. It still keeps the Misk Endeavor and the Starlancer TAC, but now we're taking the Avenger Titan and we're changing that to a 315p because we're changing our snub to a Razor EX. We are getting rid of the Fury in favor of a Razor EX. And the reason we're doing that is because now we technically have 4 ships in our fleet that are full-fledged ships. So the 315p allows us to keep the kind of the cargo capacity of the Avenger Titan. And the 315p is not great in a fight, but you don't really need it for fighting as much because now you have the Razor EX, which is great in a fight. Not to mention it's a stealth ship. We did this because we have the ability to explore now with the 315p, which we didn't have with the Avenger Titan. And that Razor EX should still fit inside the Starlancer TAC. We don't know exactly how big that opening is, but I'm pretty sure that the Razor EX will be able to fit in there. But we'll see if it's exactly to the size of a Fury or if it's a little bit open. And then we'll come back and add a note on this if necessary. But I'm pretty sure the Razor EX will be able to fit inside of that Starlancer TAC hangar as a snub ship. And then again, it's its own light fighter, it's a scout, it's a racer. So we're adding a whole bunch of utility to the fleet. So Misk Endeavor, Starlancer TAC, 315p, and Razor EX. And this is the I Refuse to Go Concierge Pack because you're spending $900 when you probably could just spend the extra $100 and get yourself that sweet, sweet special customer service from the Concierge. All right, and then our $1,000 price bracket. This one I call the I might as well pack. It's $995. This one still has the Misk Endeavor, but hold on to your seats, ladies and gentlemen, because now our secondary ship becomes the Ironclad Assault, and our role player becomes the Cutlass Black. So only 3 ships. We have the Misk Endeavor, the Ironclad Assault, and the Cutlass Black. Now we have enough money to finally upgrade our Starlancer TAC to the all-powerful Iron Chad, which has everything the TAC has, with the exception of medical. However, it adds a repair bay, a material crafter, drop seats, a detachable command module, and more. Then we revert back to our old trusty Cutlass Black as our daily driver when everything else is just too massive. Just make sure you get that dark Dauntless skin for your Ironclad so you hit Concierge with some purpose. So you can pick a skin for your, I don't think your Endeavor has skins. So the Ironclad Assault or the Cutlass Black, that'll get you right over that $1,000 mark. And there you have it. You are officially Concierge with some help from old Billionaire Ninjas here. Make sure you look out for the solo players only edition. We're going to do a solo players only edition because I know that while we're going through this, a lot of you are like, that ship has too much crew. That ship has too much crew. That ship. So we got you. We're going to do a solo players only edition of this and some other variations. So, you know, look out for that. I know you're probably going to have some, whoa, for $1,000, I would get this and this and this and this. And for $800, I would get this and this and this. I get that. This is this is what we think you should get. We think the Misk Endeavor is worth it. I know a lot of people will probably have that be their biggest thing that they have an issue with. I think the Misk Endeavor is worth it. I think it's going to go up in price, and I think the amount of money, it's a easy ship to jump off of if something comes out better, because it's not so expensive that when something comes out better, you can't get to it because you already spent too much money, and it's not so cheap that you don't feel like you're getting your money's worth out of it. So I think it's a great ship to sit on. If we're talking packs, if we're talking building a fleet, this is where I would go with it. I don't own a Cutlass Black, but I understand the value of a Cutlass Black, and the only reason I don't own a Cutlass Black is because I just have so many ships that take the need for what I would use a Cutlass Black for. So yeah, I stand by my packs, and I'm ready for your comments. All right, that is it for this one. Shout out to the members. Thanks for spending your time with us. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.